Hey guys, thank you for joining another episode of Mukbang with your host, Dongdigity. So today, I'm trying to go for a back in like 70s, 60s Korean student. It might be really weird. Well, this is called doshira, and this is how the students back in those days in Korea used to carry their lunch to school. So I figured since we have this, I'm like, I could use it for Korean. I know they didn't have like this kind of hairstyle or hair color, but yeah, and they wore this colorless. What do you call uniform? Yeah, uniform. Unlike U.S., I mean some schools require like boarding school and stuff. Maybe Catholic school too will require you to wear like these one of those uniforms, but like public school, they're pretty Gucci with all kind of clothes you wear, except like if there's like a bad thing on it, well, alcohol stuff and whatnot. So yeah, let me. So yeah, let's eat. Let's see what my mama packed. Ready? Ooh. So this is Korean sausage with dipped in a egg, stirred egg, and then they pan fry it. And this is saba mackerel, grilled mackerel, and this is like that fish katsu, and this is dried radish spiciness, and this is rice over egg. So I assume this is pretty baller's lunch. Obviously in Korea back then I never been to high school in Korea, so I never got to experience it, but I know you bring your own lunch. That's what I know. But through elementary and whatnot, nowadays they do serve food at school. You know, I kind of look like a priest, but that's not what I'm going for. And what's also best way to eat this is by putting all the food together and you close the lid and you shake it. And let me check this off. It's really tight on me because now I'm so jacked. This up. If I was a student, I'd probably look forward to only this time. So this tin type of lunchbox was popular from after like war era till 80s, once they start coming out with like those plastic one and a lot of lunch boxes that could keep your lunch warm. But before that, in Korea they used to have this stove thing, hot stove inside the classroom, because Korea didn't have any like a heater system. So when they had that, they'll put their lunch tins on top of those stove and warmed it up. So I assume that my parents probably used to have this kind of lunch. And students will like trade in each other's lunch. I mean, back in the day, I mean, all this stuff is some stuff that I've seen from movie. So I don't know how accurate they are. Obviously nowadays is Korean economy is so much better. You could go to cafeteria, things like that. But back in the days, they had to pack their own lunch, and they didn't have backpack, so they have to put this all in like one of those robes or something, and they will carry it. So make me think, how privileged we are. And I know some students, they can afford many food. Think about right after war, like post-war era, you could barely afford anything. Unless if you're a baller. And there were many like stories where, because they're so poor they couldn't afford a lunch, they'll just drink water during lunchtime. Nowadays they have so many systems set up where those unfortunate students will get lunch, still food and stuff. And when I was in elementary, we have to go to cafeteria to eat, and they give you another tin, like plate where you could get lunch. And I saw a homeless guy, so I gave him my food. And I remember my teacher called me in and said, that's your food, you can't give it to other people. But I said, it's okay. It was my food anyway, right? So. And she told me that, you know what, like I really thought you were just a crazy, obnoxious kid, but I think you still have a heart. I'm like, okay, thank you. And I only been to school for like a couple years in Korea at elementary. And my mom really wanted me to live in the countryside. So she sent me to countryside. Because my mom believed that if I grew up in countryside, there's gonna be somewhat more like pureness or something like that. Which I don't know what that means still. But I've been to school at Seoul, and I've been to school at like those countryside. I was more scared at countryside than actual city. With all the fighting and I remember how during winter, Korea classroom gets so cold. I'm pretty sure it's different now, but back then, man, it was so cold, and where you could blow out that like that I forgot what it's called, but when it's cold, I wear like thick jacket and then shivering and stuff. That's why in Korea there's longer winter breaks, like 3 months. Mm. Yeah, so I know for a fact, like, if I attended Korean school or attended school in Korea, I probably had to drop out. I was so obnoxious as kids. Mm. But I remember having a lot of friends because I was from the city, and a lot of people want to just come over and hang out and stuff. And most of those kids own the farm. And I'll go over to their farm, eat some fresh apples and stuff, you know? Something that I have never ever seen in the city. So maybe, I think it was a good experience, like seeing cows, pigs, and stuff like that, with nature and whatnot. So I don't even mind if, in the future, if I have a kid, I don't mind sending or having them grow up in a more of country, rural side, or just for summer break or something to learn more about nature and stuff. Because I learned so much through the experience. So random fact about this Korean sausage. Why it tastes so different? I was looking up on an article. So back in the day, like 60s, it was rare to eat meat at home because post-war, all that. A lot of people couldn't afford to eat meat, but then they came out with this. They called it a sausage, Korean sausage. This company decided, hey, why don't we give people a meat, but something they could afford, which they decided to put 50% fish cake and 25% pork. And I don't know what other 25, probably it could be like a Korean newspaper or something, I don't know, random. And that's how they started selling it. But now obviously it's more higher meat content because we could all afford to eat meat these days, mostly. So yeah, I thought it was kind of cool. That's why history of Korean ham. Now I just look like more like professor than student. 'Cause I'm getting old. Well, thank you so much for watching, or thank you so much for joining me during my lunch period. Hopefully I don't piss off my teacher, right?